Hey guys, this is sj.hammer and this is episode 9. I think it is. And today I have with me Ryan Belcher. And Ryan is an IFBB Pro in men's physique. He recently got his card. Ryan, say hello.
Hey, what's going on? I appreciate you having me, Sammer. Thanks for having me on.
I'm glad to have you and thanks for coming on. I'm going to give a little update on my prep before we talk to Ryan about all about him. Right now, I'm about 12 days out from my show, September 24th, the Ohio State Championships. I just made weight a day or two ago at 169.5. My weight limit's 170, so I'm right on the cusp. And I only have like maybe a pound or two to lose to get that, hopefully that ideal conditioning. I'm going to talk about it more in an episode, maybe in a week or so, right before my show. But right now, let's talk more about Ryan. When did you get your pro card, man?
So I actually got my pro card very recently. I got it, I can remember like it was yesterday, June 18th.
It did feel recent.
Friday.
I remember watching it on the stream. It was junior nationals.
Junior nationals in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Originally in Chicago, got moved to whole COVID to Chattanooga. It was just a show that my coach had planned out for me, and we went run with it. But yeah, it was June 18th, so very recent. Still kind of taking off the brand new sneakers in the IFBB league. So back at the bottom, here we are. But I'm very excited and motivated to not become at the bottom of the barrel anymore and keep moving forward. It's there's levels to this, and that's something that right? We're both local. It's very exciting, man.
To say something to levels. If you haven't seen a previous episode, I had Corbin on, and he's new to physique. So if you haven't seen that episode, you can see somebody who is a new competitor and in physique versus Ryan here, who's a pro now. How did it feel getting that pro card?
Just like that, speechless.
You forget that you have it?
Sometimes, not gonna lie. I mean, I have my, like, you can't see now, but I have my trophies over there, like across from there. I'm trying to find a spot to put them. I just moved into a brand new apartment, so I'm kind of have them in the corner here. Going to put them up somewhere, but I'm gonna be that guy that has them out. But to answer your question, it was just like that. It was I was speechless, cried like a baby the whole weekend. Didn't seem real. It's like, it's something that we all try to achieve and work so hard for. And how I did it just truly a blessing. And they say it's not over until it's over. And I remember
the picture of you getting the card, like that emotional moment. It's a good picture.
They say a picture's worth 1,000 words, and that literally was worth 1,000 words. And it was crazy. Like I first call outs, right? There's levels to first, second, call outs. And I was very fortunate enough. There was multiple call outs, wasn't just one. There's 2 call outs, and made first call outs, and went out there. I was like, I had none to lose. Win or lose, I'm going to give it my best. I'm going to come out here thinking I'm the best. I'm the shit. You got to have the mentality. Yeah. So win or lose, you go out with fashion kind of thing. And I just remember going, before prejudging, my coach, Neil Cash, and I hit it on the spot first try. Didn't change anything up regarding the whole prep. I think I ended prep with 2,000 calories, 130 carb, and 45 minutes Stairmaster. So I think that's how I ended it.
At the end of your prep, you mean?
Yes, excuse me. Into my prep right before show.
It was higher when you started, the calories and
correct. Absolutely. So sorry for the confusion there. And whatever got there, and I remember checking with them at the hotel the night before. And so the kind of like I tapered down before the week before we carved up before the week of the show being Friday. And what had happened was 130 carb, I think it was. Then Tuesday we started carbing up. Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, so Wednesday and Thursday were my big carb up days. Friday was a show. So it would have been Wednesday. I had 250 grams of carbs.
What'd you have?
Huh?
What'd you have? What was it?
The carb up was just the same foods as I was in prep, which was the basics. So it was literally, my food was chicken, cup of like spinach and asparagus, and then it was Ezekiel bread muffins. The muffins, I think like 30 carb, and white rice. And they're usually before and after my workouts only. So it was like 0 carb, and then before and after my workouts were all my carbs. Or I'm sorry, breakfast was an Ezekiel bread muffin, and then pre and post workout were a cup of rice. So that's basically was it. And then we carved up for 250. So just like cup of rice. So cup of rice, all my foods. And then day before the show, driving, we did 500 grams of carbs. And usually people are like, what, you had 500 grams of carbs, Garvin? I'm like, yeah, like my body was so depleted, man, that it filled me up with the glycogen. It's kind of like a gas tank, right? So the glycogen stored on the muscle. Met with Neil in his room at the hotel the night before. He's like, okay. He's like, let me see how you look, did some posing. And then he has this tool. It's like a spring, and you pump up your chest with it. So it's like a straight spring. You grab your hand on it, and you bend it kind of like this.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. So I did that. He's like, I don't want you really pumping up, but just kind of get a feel of how much glycogen you have left. You'll know. And we did. I was like, whoa, like there's levels to pumps. I think people don't know. Yeah. There's blood pumps, obviously, and you get a certain amount of degree. But then there's that, hey, I feel like my skin's tearing. And it's a real sharp pain, but you're like, oh my gosh, I feel amazing. And we hit that the night before. He's like, all right, stop. Don't fully use all the glycogen. Let's save some of it. Woke up night before. I was a little bit watery that night. And he's like, that's fine, because in the morning, once you sleep, you actually need some sleep, because I have trouble. I think everyone has trouble sleeping before they're at the show, right? All the replays and playing it, all different scenarios in your head happen. And so I woke up, got some sleep, and I was flat again. And he's like, we're just going to give you a little bit of normal food. That's what we normally would. Nothing changing. I believe we did 2 cups of rice and 4 ounces of chicken and 4 ounces of water. Every meal I had 4 ounces of water. I'm thinking this just works for me. This isn't for everybody, for people that are viewing this. And I was drying out still, looked great. And then he's like, okay, I think I had my first 2 meals, which were 2 cups of rice, I believe so, 4 ounces of chicken, 4 ounces of water. And then he's like, nothing. He's like, right, and we're going to save all this until before show. So I was chilling. And then right before, here's another common mistake. I want to pause my story. I think you can relate to this. A lot of people make mistakes. You see guys pumping up way too soon. The huge funny analogy I always use is, for those who've seen the Fast and Furious, the first movie, when Paul Walker, the very first race, uses nitrous way too soon. And then Vin Diesel says, too soon.
Yeah.
Right. And he takes off and uses it. Same analogy. I use that analogy all the time, but it's so true. Guys are pumping up super early. By the time it goes to show, I mean, they're faded. And
it can be a little hard to estimate the pump up when
correct.
Also
absolutely timing. Yeah. I mean, there's so many factors, right?
And then kind of like once you start, you can't stop.
Yeah, exactly. So Neil's like, we're not pumping up until they say, hey, I was in class D, normally in C, but so many bodies, I was in class D. And what had happened was, as soon as they lined up, there was a class ahead of us going up and actually competing, and we were next in line. And Neil's like, go now. So grab that tool, I'm pumping up, and I just feel my chest explode. I'm like, okay, like this is a good sign. I was like, he's like, how's it feel? Is it the tear feeling? And he's communicating with me. Neil the whole time never left my side. Was just like live with me backstage. It was amazing. And so I'm pumping. I'm like, He's like, he adjusted me a little bit. He's like, go again. And I did. I was like, okay, it's the feeling that I need to feel. Pumped up the chest. And then we did, the bands, the belts. And then we did the lats and back, like tomorrow. Not too much in the back. We don't want to get too full, so we lose detail, but enough where you get some blood in there.
Now, to talk about like the length of your pump up, I actually think when I did my last show, you were there, the Julie Palmer. I think I was one of the first to pump up actually backstage. I could be wrong, but I thought I was one of the first. But I
don't know if I remember. I'm not gonna lie though. I just remember you being so pure. Like I looked at myself like I need to go home. Like you were you were shredded to the bone. You were dry. You were full. And I remember looking at myself like, man, I need to go home. Like this guy is crazy.
But that was the only. Yeah. That was your only weakness. At the time was conditioning, and that's okay.
Correct. I was always off. I don't think I ever was 100. That's not taken away from anybody, but Neil hit it on the rock, man.
My point was like, pump up might be a little different for everybody.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so it's prepping for a show and what coaches do and stuff like that too. But yeah, I was off definitely at the Julie. I was off at the Arnold before that. And that was on me. I had a little peanut butter issue. It's a local joke, but
you had the size and you had the shape. Conditioning.
It's crazy though, man.
Fix within 1 year.
It's crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I had a terrible year. We can go on with that here soon. We can touch up on that later. It doesn't matter. But I had a terrible year to where I feel like I didn't have an off season at all, like at all.
Yeah.
And I was 185.6 bone dry before carbon back up last year at the Julie Palmer when I saw you compete backstage. I was 185 and I was off, right? I was soft looking a little bit.
You had a lot going on in your life. I mean, you don't have to mention it.
It was just the beginning. No, I don't mind.
Yeah,
I'll share my story. I think people can hopefully relate and know that people aren't the only people going through things in life, and hopefully someone can take something away from it. But I'll get to that here in a minute. But it was okay. So to answer my question or answer my own statement, I was 185.6 last year. I was 186.6. So it's only a pound difference. But I looked so much different, even from that pound difference. So I was talking to my coach about it actually today, about an hour ago, before I even got on the podcast. He's like, you actually probably put on a few pounds, not just one. He's like, because the body composition difference was so drastic. But I was on. I had to be on.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing my first call. Like, I remember looking at these guys and I'm like, banding up and in the delts. And I remember looking at him, I was like, these guys are enormous. Like, these guys are like they're in 212 and board shorts.
Were they actually enormous, or was it just your head playing games?
There was at least two. I was like, they were the second and third guy. And actually the guy who got fourth, he had huge delts. I think you saw he had baby.
I kind of remember, yeah.
His front shots looked phenomenal. Damn. But I knew that he was like, calm down. He's like, I've been in this industry for way long, plenty of backstages. He's like, there's levels to this. He's like, he started calling him out. He's like, doesn't have a back. This is his weakness. Whatever. It wasn't being a jerk, but he was just helping me out. He's like, he started calling out weaknesses.
I watched the whole thing.
He ended up calling. And then I remember right before we got up, this huge guy showed up, who got second. He shows up and I'm like, I had no words. Man, I'm like, I get this size difference. I've never been the biggest guy on all my stages, but posing, conditioning, shape, all that kind of stuff kind of plays a role, stage presence, everything. And I wasn't too worried about being undersized until I saw him. I'm like, this guy looks like, who's the guy from Pittsburgh? Brain farts. One of Neil's best friends. I coached him.
Okay.
What is his name? He's from Pittsburgh. Men's physique, got second to Brandon Hendrickson last year.
Oh my God.
Raymond Edmonds.
Okay. I was thinking the guy who got second to you. I was like,
oh no, yeah, Raymond Edmonds.
Okay.
He kind of looked like him a little in the face, and even Neil was like, that's our joke. We kind of like, hey, he looks like him. And Neil was like, okay, we have some competition. Like, that was, and I knew once he said it, I'm like, oh my gosh. He's like, Ryan, I don't think he knows how to pose his back, because we saw him posing. And he's like, you're going to win from the back. He's like, I'm going to call it. So, we get up. I'm pumping up until like I'm walking up the stairs, pumping up, using the machine and banding until like I toss like a baton, like in some Olympic, sprint. I give it to Neil, my coach, and I just go on stage. Like, it was like a quick transition. It was kind of cool. So walked out, and I remember sit there and like, it's one of those things to where it's like, man, this year, again, I'll touch up on it here soon, my story, but it's like, man, this year's been the hardest year of my life. Cried myself to sleep, whatever. I'll touch up in a minute, but like, it's one of those things where like everything happens in this moment. You work so hard for very little time to impress people, right? And the judges are Steve Weinberger, Olympic judge.
You've got 30 seconds.
I got 30 seconds. I mean, these aren't just local judges. This is Steve Weinberger from the Olympia. I got Tyler Mannion dead center. And like, I think there's another man, I don't remember, but I got important people in front of me. It's to the next level. I'm like, oh man, but like, it was one of those things where like, the crowd, was there obviously and filled and stuff. But it was like, everything was muted. And all I could hear was like, doom, doom, like my heartbeat. I'm not just like making this weird analogy. Like, this is true. It's like, everything was zoned out and muted. And all I could hear is my heartbeat. I'm just like looking. And then all of a sudden you hear your name. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden it's like it unmutes slowly. And then you can start hearing everything. And then it was like, I'm going to do this. Like, I don't care. I'm going to think so, I'm flaring my lats, walking, like trying to be some Jeremy Windy I want to be. And I'm walking out like, I have nothing to lose, Hammer. I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And I just walked out flaring the lats, like, and I shook my head like, I'm here.
It's probably the right thing to be doing.
Yeah. Like, I was like, win or lose, man, I'm going to, think I'm the shit, and I'm going to come out and I'm going to try to win this thing. And I did. And I just, boom, we worked on this transition. It's kind of like, what's his name from Columbus, George Brown. He hits that front double. And it worked good on me. I had full pecs. My pecs were full of striations, and We just hit it and it looked good. And I was boom. And then Neil's yelling at me as I'm posing. He's like, blow it out, like coaching me up through my posing, and I'm blowing it out. And it was just crisp.
It definitely, it helps being able to hear a coach
for sure. And I can,
just, even just a reminder.
Yeah. 100%. And he's coaching me through. He's like, show him your lower back. And I never really had a crazy lower back. I never came in enough to have a lower back.
You mean like the muscles, or the Christmas tree?
The Christmas tree, not the muscles, the Christmas tree. So I've never been able to see a good one on the back, right? I have good bars, but I don't probably have that thick, stupid lower back, right? I just have my spinal erectors, at least on my physique right now currently. And I remember Neil was like, dude, you have like a week out. He's like, dude, you have a Christmas tree. I was like, what? He's like, do that again. We were kind of playing with it. And obviously we were playing the full look where we really carved up, and I had to play the full card with these giants next to me, right? So I lost a little bit of the Christmas tree, but you can still see I was lean, obviously, enough for a national stage. Definitely, I was on, for me at least. I've never been that.
I remember you being one of the leanest. I don't know if it was the leanest, but one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. And so he'd always like, hey, show him your lower back. And then what happened, I just know when I popped my back, I still felt the pump from pumping up backstage. And it felt like my back was full too. And I'm
going to try to put some of those pictures up here, because I can remember myself, but so everybody else can see it.
And I think just from what I reposted on my story after I whatever happened, and I was like, oh man, like my back looked really good. I was actually, once you're impressed with your own self, then it's actually like, okay, let's just validate. It actually look good, because we're obviously our own worst critics, right? So, and then I hit the stage and I walked off, and Neil's like, dude, you look good. Like, he's like, you ready to go back on? Because he would watch me post and run back behind the stage, coach me up, touch me up or whatever, tell me what to do. He's like, all right, you're about to go right back out for call outs. And he'd run back and forth. It was amazing. I couldn't ask for a better coach.
It's good he's tall. He can run fast.
Yeah. And it was, oh man, it was just crazy. So I walked back out and we holding, and they start calling our call outs. I was the first number called, and I knew I was right in that square.
Oh, you were the first number? That's sweet.
Yeah, which doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't.
Right?
No.
It doesn't mean a dang thing. But I knew, like, all right, first number, I'm gonna be right in the dead center. I was like, that's a lot of pressure. Like, you already moving to center, like to keep that so hard, because they're gonna be, flip flopping immediately, right? So I get out there and they call one number, and they have the guy who placed second. He was in the outside, so they moved him to second, moved the guy that was in second to fourth. Of the baby blue board shorts, and the guy in second. They switched.
And you were in center, right?
I was in center the whole time.
Okay, and that's what I remembered.
Just like that mass monster that Neil and I were worried about right next to us was like, okay, they switched us immediately, and Neil and I was so like, I was so defeating, right? I was like, man, this guy's gonna win. And then I'm slamming it. I'm trying to keep my stage presence up. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm even trying to.
It can kill your mentality. Like
I was trying to get in his grill. Like, if I'm not gonna lose, I'm gonna get in his head, right?
Yeah.
And he folded. He was kind of like moving like this. I was like, oh well, like I'm gonna take advantage of that, right? Like, I don't, win or lose, I'm coming to win.
Was he the one who had trouble with the back pose?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what happened. So and then Steve Weinberger, Olympian judge, is like, or the Olympian judge, basically was like, hey, face the curtain. And then Neil's like, boom, and Neil's like Neil's yelling. He's like, don't give up, keep the stage presence going. Like, and then as we open up, Neil was like, he's choking, like he couldn't pose his back.
Yeah.
And, and he was like clenching. He's like flexing his middle back.
I remember. Like this. I mean, I remembered somebody had a difficulty.
Correct, and it was him. And Neil was screaming because he knows that all the judge can hear Neil. Neil's like, he's choking, can't pose his back. Like, was screaming it. And I'm holding it, and he's like, no, you're killing him. He kept reminding me, make me feel comfortable. He's like, you're killing him from the back. And he's like, you're killing all of them from the back. It was amazing.
I mean, you have no idea. If Cash wasn't saying anything, you'd have no idea.
I have no idea. He was just saying, can we feel better or not? But I took him seriously, and they said face the front, and sure enough, man, switched right back, and that's when your heart really starts racing. And I look at that guy too. When I was walking past him, I was like, right in his face. I'm like, all right, man, that's right. Like, you get into it, competitive, and moving right back in the middle. And it's cool it's one thing like, hey man, you killed it, you never moved, but it feels good. And it's kind of cool to get called out in a lower, like his placing, like second. and then come back from that and go back
It's
to
more
first.
exciting. Yeah.
It's like more of an accomplishment. It's like adversity, and it's like, oh, it was amazing. So they moved me back to the center, and Neil's like, hold it. He's like, hurry up, judges, hurry up. And we're waiting. No one's moving. And I'm not gonna lie, I see Steve Weinberger point at the guy at second and was like liking him. And I remember I saw Tyler Mann, and he was like, and pointed at me. I remember seeing it, and then they're like, boom, out of paperwork. And then they said, all right, that's it. And I was like, correct me if I'm wrong, I've seen people move from prejudging the finals, people falling off, spilling over, coming in better. There's so many different factors because it's not over till it's over, right? So, but majority of the time, what you are in prejudging is more than
Pretty
likely.
I did see something different at North Americans where they literally said they did a rejudging in finals.
Correct. It's very real. I've done it myself.
It's rare. It's very rare. What you show in prejudging, a big reason you don't want to spill over is if you're doing the overall, because then you're still getting compared.
You're done. You might as well just go home. And we're sitting there, and he said, judges, we'll see you in the evening. And it's one thing I think people like fake it or whatever, and they're just screaming and stuff, and they're getting all into it. But like, it was a feeling. Like, I went to go like this and wave off, and I don't know what it was. And I'm being 100% honest. It felt like so much energy, like a volcano just erupted. Like, everything I worked hard for, everything I was praying for, everything I was doing just erupted. And I was just like, I was screaming like, yeah, like I was like, let's go. I was like clapping real hard. And it was an authentic and natural reaction. It wasn't like me, like, I'm going to do this for the camera, like it was totally authentic. And everything shot like, I'm going to win this thing. Like, I actually thought I'm going to win this thing. Walked off, and Neil grabbed me like, oh my God, man. He's like, you won this thing. And like, obviously we both know it's not over till it's over, but he's like, we're not going to eat any food. He's like, you're just going to have, he's like, all of your glycogen's depleted now. He's like, now you're going to eat your cup of rice, 2 cups of rice, 4 ounces of chicken, 4 ounces of water again. We'll see how you look, kind of like refill a little bit of glycogen without spilling over, because I'm flushed, I'm soft now, right? The pumpkin timing. And he gave me a smaller meal, the same food right after something. I had like a meal and a half, basically. He's like, all right, you're going to sit and rest on your ass. You're not going to move. He's like, and then we're going to do rice cakes and honey right before pumping up. He's like, you're going to stay reserved. And I came in better at finals than I did in prejudging. And that I have never done that. And I remember Neil was like, even when I was doing my routine again, they had to do like a miniature routine, always like top 5. And Neil was like, you look better. Like, I heard him like, he looks better tonight. And I've never had that happen. It was cool. I came in even more polished up. And it was just amazing. So hit that, and boom, 4th, 3rd. And then it was me and another guy. And I was like, it's not over till it's over.
How was it when you got moved back to center? Like, was there a level of confidence that just shot up?
Oh yeah. Like, I started out of my head, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, that's right. I'm
like when you start in center, is it more like you feel like you're defending yourself? But for me, it's I feel like it's 2 different things that happen. Either it's like, hey, you're defending yourself, or like you're just gonna you just don't know where you are.
You don't know. But I personally feel like I was defending it. My first national show, these guys are huge. These guys deserve to be here, just like I did. But I was like, I feel like I was defending. In my mind, I was like, how long can I keep this? That's kind of a thing. But then at the same time, I'm like, no, I'm gonna win this. But it was just crazy. Moved out.
When I did the Julie Palmer and I was in the bodybuilding overall, I started off in the center, but there was a guy, Steve, I don't remember his last name, like 70 pounds heavier. So I wasn't surprised when I got moved out of the center. But I do.
But you get the feeling.
Yeah. And I remember in classic where I did get moved into center, and I was like, fuck yeah. It feels good. There's a different feeling getting moved in. It's a different feeling than starting.
It is a good feeling. It's like overcoming a small battle or war. It's amazing.
And it's like reassurance, like you're doing everything right.
No, 100%. And again, it was just truly a blessing, and they're calling the names. And again, just like thinking about has me speechless. It's
my first few shows, I remember, like, people always say I'm very conditioned. I look back at my first shows, and I would see what I look like at night. I was like, oh, apparently that's conditioned, but I didn't realize in my own first shows I was spilling over. Like there was a big difference between.
Talks about levels, right? Of levels of this, what people think looks good, and like it might look good to your normal eye, but from a competitive bodybuilding standpoint, it doesn't look good,
And
right?
maybe they were talking about like I or you were looking conditioned in the morning when we're thinking spilling over at night.
Correct.
Yeah.
100%. So I just like
maybe let's talk about your first show. How was that?
it's Natural Ohio, 2017. I was under our previous coach named Sam Spencer. I think any of the local guys that are watching this know who he is. First show with him, I was his very first client. Went up there and I think we ended up going. We got first. There's more than one call out. I got first call out, second place. I remember I was like
That's dead good.
Center, but I was in dead center. Yeah, and then this one guy, mixed guy, looked huge. And I actually know who he is now. Now he's like, oh my God, he looks so huge. Like the role switched over time. But I remember looking, I was like, man, this guy looks huge. And I was in the front, I was in the center for the whole time. And then right before they called it, he was on the outside, they moved in, and I got moved to second. So he took it. I think he ended up playing some like third or fourth in the overall.
So there's at least like 10 guys, or if there's 2 call outs, or I don't know how many.
Yeah, I think it was like 5 apiece. Yeah.
Okay.
So I got first call out, second place, lost him by 1 point. I believe I might have been 1 or 2 points. I believe if it goes back, if PC goes that far back, I think
for people who don't know, there's 5 points with voting, and so you have to win
the lowest score,
3 of the votes.
Correct.
Or the lowest score. Yeah.
And then so if you get a perfect 5 out of 5 judges, a perfect score. But yeah, and then I ended up going novice, winning my class at novice, going to the novice overall, and fell short. So I think I labeled us. I think it's like there was a second place.
That's good. I mean, I think I got. Oh no, it was my second show. I got 3 second places. Or no, my first show. But I only had like 3 competitors in my class.
Still, man, that's still impressive.
I know. But I don't know where I was going with that. How do you feel now as a competitor versus like when you started?
Number one, it's a dream come true. It's like, man, it's always. I was one of those kids growing up.
Did you expect to be a pro when you started? What was your goal going into your first show? Like,
I wanted to see how far it goes. I wanted to win. I'm real competitive. So, long story short, was one of those dreamer kids, pipeline dreamer kids, wanted to go to the NFL. Was a huge Les Welker fan. For those who watch football, know who that is. Short, white guy, played for Brady and New England Patriots. I'm like, man, reality hits, not good enough. Not Les Welker. What else can I do that I can turn professional? Have maybe a decent career, right? Bodybuilding. Fell in love with the whole competing. Men's physique started coming out. I'm like, man, he's kind of like a model aesthetic look, right? Board shorts. So I'm like, this fits my part. Everyone always tells me, you should go give this a try. So gave it a try, and I think I fell in love with the whole like calculating food and being accountable and challenging yourself every single day, because bodybuilding is all the time, right? It doesn't stop. It is a very selfish sport. Had to stop partying. Lost a lot of friends. So those of you who are watching, you're kind of figuring out like, hey, I'm losing a lot of people in my life. It's okay. I did too. It's something you have to choose personally. Right?
I imagine that happens to everybody, no matter whatever hobby or career. You know, your paths go different ways.
Correct. So then you get filtered out from all the college people till, hey, you have your true friends, right?
I loved going out and drinking and all that, and I eventually
it was fun. I had a good time too. Yeah, I had my fair share, and then started changing up, and then man, it's like, wow, I wanted to go pro so bad, and that was it. I was like, all right, Sam, I want to be your first client. Let's do this thing. And we did 5 years there. So 2017, 18, 19, 20, 4 years, 5 years training, 4 years competing together. I remember Sam and we did second and first call outs.
How long have you been bodybuilding in general, or like going to the gym?
Bodybuilding training since 2016 when Sam first got ahead of me. Competed in 2017.
7 years? Okay.
Yeah.
That, which is very different
16,
from me. Yeah.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 5 years.
That's
6. You're right, just 7. Coming in off season.
Me, I started weightlifting, going to the gym for the first time in like 2007, and I didn't compete till 2017. But it's different for everybody. I just wanted to
Yeah,
see,
no,
like, because anybody who's watching, it's different for everybody.
100%. So yeah, I mean, Sam and I had a great career. Second place in open, and I got I'd say second overall. No, the guy definitely, I got third, and I was definitely deserve that.
You're talking about the Julie Palmer?
No, that's a Natural Ohio still, 2017.
Okay.
And then that same year I did the Kentucky Derby. I got third. And that's where one of the situations where I was dead last. Sam's like, okay, like we came in 2 depleted, 8 like Mountain Dews and like cheeseburger and fries, and I just like filled out, and I didn't spill. I was crazy. I was so depleted because I came in lighter for that show than I did for the Natural Ohio, and I got moved from last, and I got moved like 3 to 4 different times.
Wow.
I worked my way up all the way to third. One of those rare cases.
I've never seen it personally. Like,
that's the only time I've ever seen it was myself, but that's how I know it exists. So it was just crazy. I'm like, oh my God, I ended up getting third. And then I was like, I was just so mad. I was just like, man, like I came to win. I got third. I was just so mad at myself. And I told Sam, I was like, I want to do the Julie Palmer. It's home field advantage. This is in 2018 now. I was like, I want the pressure. I was like, everyone's gonna be watching at this point. Everyone knows I compete at this point, right? And I was like, I want home field advantage. I want that pressure. And literally, I didn't talk to anybody. I said, Sam, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to train. I want to train by myself, have my hoodie up. I said, I'm only going to talk to you in check-ins, and you won't hear from me. And I would get up in the morning before work, hitting treadmill, whatever.
That's 2019, right?
18, 19 was on.
Okay, yeah.
So 18, whatever's in my zone, I did the thing.
Yeah.
Because I laid a month, 30 days to transform my body, and long story short, came to the Julie Palmer. I took the overall. It's just crazy. And I remember I had.
So that was a 4-week prep?
Yeah.
You said 30 days. Yeah.
Yeah. So Julie Palmer kind of filled out a little bit and then right back down, right? So yeah, it was great. I remember I was backstage, and Adam Atkinson's a Columbus coach, and the See You Later leaner, for those of you who don't know. And he had Zach Witchy at the time. Big white guy. Here I am at 170 pounds in baby blue board shorts. And I was like, man, I'm going to lose this guy. This guy's a mass monster. And I hit my side post, man. And then here goes the back shot again. Zach, if you're watching this, sorry, brother, but Zach had no back. And I ended up winning from the back. And I knew that because I heard one of the judges say it. She's an African-American female, and she was judged like, Delton back. He deserved to win. So yeah, I did that at the time, and then took the overall. It was a blessing. So if you win the Julie Palmer, you would know this. You took the overall in 20. Do they still? They used to at least. Do they still?
I know what you're talking. I know what you're about to say. I know what you're about to say. So, but
yeah,
I don't know if they still did it.
So I know when I competed, at least in 2018, if you won the overall, they'd pay for your entry fees for the Auto Classic Amateur. So whatever, winning the overall,
which is one of the only shows you can get a pro card.
Right? By winning the overall,
yeah.
Correct, because it's an international show. You're going against people around the world at that point, right? So I was like, all right, it makes sense. It's already paid for, so might as well go do it, right? So did that. Came in. Sam, if you're watching this, he knows he'd argue with me, but I thought it was one of the worst packages I ever brought, and it's kind of my fault. I was dating somebody at the time, and she had told me, she was like, "Are you measuring your peanut butter?" I'm like, "No, I pulled a rookie. I'm third year competing, and I'm not even measuring my peanut butter for how dense it is." Right? Joke's on completely me. And I'm like, I'm thinking I'm taking a little bit, man. I'm like babying it, and I put it down there, and she's like, and I'm measuring. I'm like, oh my God, that's a serving and a half, 2 servings. And I was like, oh my God, I'm having another 500 to 600 calories in peak week. Why am I not dropping? It was me being a complete dumbass, pulled a rookie mistake when I've known better. Remember, I told Sam, he's like, you know better. That's the first thing he said.
So you weren't, you're not measuring. You were just eyeballing it.
And I wasn't dropping. And I was like, but I was pretty peeled. But I had that. Everyone that knows me knows my lower back is the last thing that goes.
It's funny. I just literally, a day or two ago, I switched peanut butters just from like Jif to like Kroger brand. And I was like, wow, this one's really more dense as I was scooping it up. And I could taste it.
Man. 100%. So I completely pulled a rookie mistake. I got top 10 in my class. I think I had like 20 to 30 guys.
It probably tasted good eating that extra peanut butter.
Yeah, it tasted really good getting ninth too, you know. But placing ninth in an international show, Arnold Classic Amateur, I was like, I placed top 10. So if you make top 10 in prejudging, you go to finals, compete at the what's it called? Not the festival, when everyone's doing the whole buying the products and everything else. I'm going to brain fart.
Expo.
Expo, thanks. Yeah. And it was in front of the expo in front of all these people, probably thousands, man, thousands. And I got ninth. I didn't get a trophy, but I was like, hey, you know what? I can't hang my head. I got top 10. I went to the finals. It's kind of cool, whatever.
There's myself in the back. Do you know how many people there were? 30?
In my class, I know there was like 20 to 30 people. I don't remember. I would say 27, 28. That kind of sounds right.
But it's a good thing to point out because, you know, ninth out of ninth is different than ninth out of 25.
Oh, correct. Yeah. So I was like, that's why I couldn't hang my head. I mean, I remember I was asking people like, where are you from? Brazil, New Zealand. Like, there's all over the place, man. So I was like, okay, off season. And then I was like, I'm going to do the Julie Palmer again. I want to see if I can go for a 2-time champ, kind of a douche move, but I was like, at least qualified. Right. So, did the Julie Palmer, a lot had happened since then.
Was that your most eventful show?
Arnold?
No, the Julie Palmer in 2020, like eventful outside of the show.
Yes. Okay, I see you're going on with this. So, yeah, it's like along with my story. So
sorry about that.
Right. No, you're fine. Here we are.
You need like the paid version to get unlimited time.
Totally fine. So I'll continue where we left off. You kind of asked me regarding, you said, hey, the Julie Palmer 2020 was a really, really eventful year for you. And then for those of you who don't know me or know my story, that's kind of where things in my life started to really get for the worst. So I was currently in a relationship 2020. At the time was living with Sam Spencer, and his girlfriend as a roommate. Yep, my current coach at that time. And was living that, did that. And during that time, and this is September 2020, correct?
The show was in August.
August, thank you. Yes, so it was August.
Prior August. I mean,
and so this is black and white. I'm gonna condense it down as much as possible for those who are watching, but a little bit about my story. I had a 16-year-old sister who had leukemia, and I was in a relationship with someone at the time, living with Sam and his girlfriend in a townhome, which, by the way, the townhome was terrible. By the way, we had nothing but problems all the time. So competed and got, my placing. I got first in class, went the overall, fell short, but I qualified. And then it's crazy. I've been with the U.S. Bank for about 2 years, I believe. I can't remember, 2 or 3 years. I don't remember. Long story short, they let go of a lot of people at once. And I thought during this whole pandemic that we were efficient, basically, and they weren't going to fire you.
This was during COVID. Just, to
remind during
everybody.
COVID. Yeah, this is August 2020 during COVID. They ended up letting us go. And at the time I was in a relationship, she's like, hey, like, I know it's a little early, but why don't you plan on moving? She's from here in Dayton, but she lives in Chicago at the time. So I was in a relationship going back and forth from Chicago all the time, and that's a lot of gas, guys. But to not get too personal about that end, we dealt with that. And then when I lost my job, Lily then offered a job in Chicago, 10 minutes away from where she lived, with US Bank. I was like, well, this isn't a sign from the Lord. Like, what am I doing? Like, and for those who watch, I'm a religious guy. So, well, this isn't a sign from the Lord. I don't know what is. So I was like, all right, took the job, as a pay increase, transition. So I started November 1st. I moved to Chicago. It didn't last long. I will say that. So, actually, I don't care to hurt feelings. So yeah, it didn't last long whatsoever.
The relationship or the job? The
relationship. Okay. I was still with the job. Excuse me. I didn't really like the environment there in Chicago. It was fun for people that, like, I'm 28. So for young 30s, 20s, like, it's a great place to live, very expensive. And I ended up coming back in December. I remember it was yesterday, December 22nd. I'll never forget. 2020, and I came back home because the relationship didn't work out and I missed my family. And the reason why I miss my family so much is after 2 long years, my sister lost her fight with leukemia on November 24th or 26th. I don't remember. So that was a huge thing. So literally lease is up. I'm in a relationship. I moved to Chicago, going back and forth. My sister passes away in November. Relationship takes a huge toll really quickly just because I've missed family. And then there's just a lot of like, this, it didn't work out.
Did the relationship become more like a burden?
I don't want to say more of a burden, but it was toxic at the time.
Right.
And yeah. So the person would agree with that.
I've been there. A lot of people have, been in those kinds of relationships,
Yeah, actually, I don't care to hurt feelings. Yeah, it was very toxic. I don't care who views this at this point. I don't care. I really don't. So I'm going to turn it up to a little bit for people who are watching. But I'll be really honest. Yes, it was very toxic. Just, it was awful, man. And to the point where I started like not have feelings for this person anymore. Yeah, I started sitting back from the situation. And I was like,
for myself, I'm like a relationship doesn't progress. You hit a wall when it's
living with somebody's a totally different ballgame too. Totally different ballgame. So long story short, I'm like, this is toxic. Started losing feelings. And I kind of drifted away and I was like, I didn't want to do this anymore. And I really missed my family, especially after my sister's loss. Long story short, ended up coming back. My job wouldn't take me back. I got an interview process, didn't get hired back, couldn't get hired by anybody. My sister just passed away. I moved back in with my dad at 28. Grown ass man moves back in with his dad at 28. Totally embarrassing, right? I have no problem admitting that. Move all my stuff back, jobless. I go through my whole savings and a couple $1,000s, like all gone. Maxed out credit cards. And I'm like, I still don't have a job. And I end up having to DoorDash just to pay bills. My dad's like, I won't charge you rent. At first, and so you start getting on your feet. And I was door dashing full time, so many hours for like $500 a month.
I didn't even know. I didn't know all of this. I mean, this is more shocking to me because I knew the icing on the cake, and that was it.
Yeah, I don't mind. I want people to hopefully take away from something, and I don't care. I'm not here to hurt feelings. I'm in a totally different path, totally different direction than I was then. Totally different person, which I'll explain. The most spiritual I've ever been in my life. But anyway, I'll get to that in a second. I was like, I have to DoorDash so many hours on the weekends. Everybody's out partying, stuff like that. And here I am trying to figure out my life. And there was another thing. There's some other things that were in factor of that as well. And I just like, I was finally at the point where I sat back from my current relationship. And I'm like, what? Not relationship, but current situation, excuse me. And I was like, what am I doing? What have I done? Like, I backtracked for the worst. It was awful. And I had a lot going on in here. And grown ass man, 20 years old, I'll never forget, from New Year's, I was trying to fix things I was trying to fix things.
Hey, you said 20 years old?
What's that?
No, you said grown ass man, 20 years old.
28 years old, excuse me.
Okay.
And so again, picture all that for people that are watching.
Yeah.
Maxed out credit cards, went through your savings, your sister died, you be back with your parent, my dad, right? No job, no nothing. I feel like a complete loser, 100% complete loser. And I had no problem admitting that. I was like, I've lost everything I've ever known. Relationship ended up turning up bad. A lot of he said, she said stuff to where I know, and I could be wrong for those who are viewing that were involved. I think there's some misunderstanding that happened to where basically at the time relationship ended terribly, like horrible. My friend, my hometown friends, I'd say, my bodybuilding friends, was all against me, based on from the he said, she said stuff, and that was part of my fault too, let's just say. So I'm gonna call names. Basically Sam, Derek Glass, let's see here, Bree with Sam. Like, I just broke all the bridges. Like, there was a lot of conflict going on and we weren't on talking terms. I don't care, Sam, if you get mad for watching this, I really don't care. It's just truth. It's nothing against you, man. We're all good. Everyone's all cordial now anyway. But I tried to fix things with Sam. Yeah. I tried multiple times to fix things with him, and he was just really upset from the situation. And, he even admitted to this, came out of his mouth. He's like, I was too prideful to accept your apology at the time and work things out, which came out of his own mouth. But I get it. hurt, right? You know, you're really close friends and stuff like that, and burn bridges on both ends. You know, it's kind of a tough thing. And so that was it. I was coachless at the time. I was like, okay, because I was like, you know, if we're not gonna fix this, I'm just gonna go a different direction. I'm not getting a response out of you. And again, this isn't a dart at you, Sam. It's just this is what happened. And you know that. And it started getting heated to where I'm gonna call you out, man. I don't care. I remember one time Derek Glass was shooting my shots on Instagram, saying I'm peanut butter eating, this and that. Saying a good way to measure your peanut butter is by taking scoopfuls, insulting me because we were all disagreeing, like throwing the dart at me because I'm making a peanut butter joke about me. Because I didn't come in spot on for the Arnold. And I was like, okay. And then, you know, things were exchanged. There's some other things exchanged from all four of us. I won't go any deeper in that, but Derek, I remember that.
Did it feel more than playful?
No, it was not playful.
Okay,
man.
okay.
It was
Okay.
it was 100% authentic.
Okay.
We were shooting shots at each other.
Okay.
It was bad. And I had made a video on my phone, which I deleted, about to go off. Like, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to. February 2021, I came to Neil Cash. Known Neil for a while, has a great resume, brings girls to Olympia, like great resume.
He does mostly bikini.
For the most part.
But he is a physique pro himself.
Yeah, he's an IFBB men's
yeah.
physique pro.
Yes. He had male clients before you.
Yes, he has,
Okay.
and they are IFBB men's physique guys too as well.
Okay.
I believe Neil. If you're watching this, I think I was the second or third, maybe fourth. I don't remember, but I remember seeing pictures of him. He showed me. But at the time, it's February at this point, still jobless, still like crying my ass off to sleep. So
I could understand that with everything.
Yeah, I'm in a hole, man. I most of the low, and you know, real quick, it's like here I am thinking that, you know, God's like, hey, you lose your job, you get a job at Chicago. This is what you're meant to do. But little did I know, he's like, I already gonna set you up for there. And they say you don't grow without pain, right? You don't grow without an all-time
challenges,
right? And this whole time, I'm like, this guy knew the whole time that I was gonna go to Chicago. Things were gonna mess up, and I had to learn. I had to change who I was as a person, and I had a lot of growing to do still, you know. And so, okay, so that's what I know that's what happened, but we're still going at it. And to condense it down, I came to Neil February 20. I came to Neil crying, and I kind of gave him a black and white story without going into details. They want to give away too many details. I was like, hey, this is kind of my situation. This is my finances, blah, blah, blah. I just laid it to him, black and white. And he looked at me, he's like, take your shirt off. And I was like, to take it off. I said, okay. Zip it up, show him. He's like, didn't say a word. This is in his office in Miamisburg. And basically it simulated I looked like shit.
Yeah.
Complete shit. Wasn't eating. I was depressed. Lost Sam, if you're watching this, I mean, he knows that he's one of my best friends at the time, coach for 5 years, a lot of history there, right? Lost him. I mean, all my body, you know, I just lost everyone. Relationship. I just feel like I had nobody. My sister wasn't there. My family's depressed. It is. So you're already depressed enough, moving back with your family. But when they're depressed already because they're mourning still the death of my sister, it's like you are just in a negative.
You're in the worst environment.
Right?
You're in the worst environment.
I just remember crying myself to sleep, pulling this exact same cross. I'm like, oh my God, get me out of this. Like, and I simulated. Like, I was praying and crying at the same time for those who are or not, to each his own, if religious or not. But for me, I was like, man, get me out of this. Like, I know I'm meant for more than my situation. I work too hard, blah, blah, blah. Just like anyone else would if they're in that situation, right? And came to Neil and he's like, you'll fix things with Sam. Go fix things with Sam. Go fix things with Sam.
Really? That's pretty cool. I like
very mature of him. He's like, I'm not stepping over any toes. You guys are in a pro fight, blah, blah, blah. And that's where I try to stand, you know, that's where I try to fix things with you multiple times and just wasn't getting any kind of, feedback at the time. I get he was really upset at the time. And I was like, okay.
I mean, I don't know if it was exactly like this. You didn't just switch from one coach to another.
No, I tried to fix it with Sam first. Yeah, Neil was like, hey, like, you might have a bro fight. You guys need to fix it up before I even consider.
Yeah, because he's going to still be your friend, hypothetically.
Correct. Yeah. So, and again, Sam and I, all of us are great now. Like, we're cordial. Everything's great, right? So this is just reading the story. They know this is all truthful. So whoever try to fix things with Sam, he's just feeling, people are still hurt. When you're close friends, you guys get an argument, you're still hurt over that. And I just wasn't getting a response. So I was like, if I don't get a response, I got to get another direction. And obviously still upset about the situation. Don't blame him. So I had to go to Neil, and I was like, Neil, I tried 3 to 4 times.
You did your part.
I did my part. Correct. And again, it was just, I was still hurt too. I'm like, man, you guys are my best friend and coach for 5 years, like lived together, blah, blah, blah. It's bad. Like I was crying, I don't mind saying that. Like I was still upset. Wasn't eating because I had so much anxiety. It was bad. Lost like everything I ever.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I don't eat.
People either eat a lot or they don't. I'm one of those people that do not want to touch food or I'll gag. Like it's that bad, right? And I start shaking. Like that's how my anxiety was. And crazy, man. And he was like, okay. He's like, you look, basically, he didn't say anything, but he basically not saying anything. He said, I look like shit, right? So he's like, I was like, I will do anything for you to turn this around for me and get a pro card this year. I was like, that'd be the ultimate comeback. Like, please. I begged him. He looked at me. He's like, okay. So I want people to understand something, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but it's very difficult to go to your worst, to your best, and winning your pro card your very first try and only try in 3.5 months.
I remember, like, if you don't mind me saying, like, you were definitely nervous. I mean, you were definitely worried and like going in.
100%, man. And I was like, man, I just had a shitty year. I just simulated a long distance of things that just happened really quick. I just simulated all that, right?
You say, like, your confidence level going in is
shot down. I was like, I look like shit now. Like, people to your average eye, like, oh, you've been so good on the beach, but that looks like shit in body.
You've been through so much. I mean, it's gonna kill your confidence.
Yeah, man. Like, and this is like the 3rd episode, the final episode of my sister, right? She, like, when I was doing the Arnold at start, she got diagnosed 2 weeks out. Like, it was horrible. I never really had an easygoing prep, never. It's always had to handle adversity and like not just deal with bullshit, but a lot of bullshit every single time in prep. And I'm like, oh my God. Then you start stressing. My cortisol level's gonna go up. I'm gonna hold water, things, blah, 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 And but Neil said, okay, I'm gonna get you looking your worst to your best in us doing a national show and getting your card in 3.5 months. And here I am, like, crying to him. And I'm like, this guy believes in me so much. In 3.5 months, for me looking like shit to winning a pro card, I was like, whatever drugs you're on, Neil, let me know, man, because I'm wanting some of that. Like, it's making me feel good, bro. And he looked at me. He's like, but you're going to have to do everything I told you. And he told me to eat, gave me a meal plan, started eating. And within a week, within the end of like 7 days, my body, and I was like, whoa, like I responded very well because I wasn't eating forever, right? So I was still probably carb sensitive and insulin sensitivity to this, and I just blew up. And it wasn't like the best ever look, but I made a huge jump.
It's right? Probably better for coaches when a client comes in starving than on the other end.
100%. And I'm still not at this time. Like, okay, so I'm motivated now. I'm like, that's it. I'm going for this card, and I'm still working my butt off at DoorDash. Right? Everybody's partying. I see everyone's having a lovely life, and I'm on the weekends working till midnight DoorDashing, feeling a complete loser still trying to get neutral to pay all my bills before I can save some money again. And through the duration of time, Neil's cussed at me, told me I look like shit. I mean, broke me down. I never gave up, and Neil knows that. And was testing me. Ultimately, was testing me here and here, right? How bad I really wanted it. And I still was, that's where the whole peanut butter thing came in, Derek. I remember that's what was motivation. I'm like, all right. Oh, and there's this one thing, Sam.
But you measure your peanut butter now.
Yeah, that was my thing with Derek now. So also there was something that Sam said. I'll bring some names in this. Sam Spencer said this to me in a car once, and I'll never forget it. We were cool this time. We kind of hashed things out, got my stuff. So we're all cordial at the time now. But I still haven't forgot. I kept my damn receipts of anything anyone ever said to me at the beginning of the year. Like, I kept every single thing. Like, I can flip through those bad boys, no problem. I kept them in my pocket. I kept all those receipts. They know it. So peanut butter. But there's one thing at Sam that you said, Spencer, that pissed me off so bad. He said that Ryan Pham, I don't care if he watches this or not, can beat me 10 out of 10 times from the front. And I was like, no way, 10 out of 10 times? Like, no way. So I was like, all right, but he's being honest. I was like, all right. Kept the receipt too. I signed that one off, put it back in there. I was like, all right. I joke around with it, but
You
Okay.
guys never did compete against each other, did you?
Fom and I did. Fom,
Okay.
you never beat me before either, and you never will. Love you. Actually, I don't care. I don't care. But no, yeah, man, it's crazy. And
Have you ever competed against somebody twice?
No.
Okay. I was just curious. Maybe you lost, then you're gonna face them again and hopefully beat them. That
I
kind of
don't
thing.
think so, to my knowledge, no.
Okay.
But basically, I had my receipts. I was motivated. 3.5 months. Neil's yelling at me, whatever. And man, we started cooking. And then it was about a month out, and I started getting peeled. I don't say peeled, it's over exaggerated. I was getting pretty lean, right? And I was like, I'm looking really good this far out. I've never looked this good. And we kept on dialing down. And I don't care what people say. I know when they saw my Instagram, like there was this one picture to where I was kind of like showing my back a little bit. It was a side by side of me showing my back, and you could see my back Christmas tree or lines in it. And it was at LA Fitness. And I think then people knew, like, oh shit.
I remember seeing it. I remember recording it once or twice. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how close to the show I saw you, but I remember, pretty close.
Yeah, you were there a couple times when I was closing
yeah.
the cam. 100%. Everybody Fitness and Kettering, 100%. And I'm like, okay, we might have something here if this continues to progress the way it is, right? And I just remember it was like, man, I'm eating the most food I ever have. I didn't go any more than treadmill incline for 45 minutes until like 2 weeks out. Then I did Stairmaster. I walked until 2 weeks out. And then, everything's all cordial now. But I just remember people would say, I'm only first call material. Ryan Fom said that once. He's like, yeah, we're only first call material. And once Ryan Fom also said that there's this guy, his name, it was something Brown, it wasn't George Brown, that's the IFBB, but there was something Brown who got third in my class. I remember at that time, Everybody Fitness, I had a conversation with Ryan Fom. He's like, I don't know, man. I know we're like first call materials with it. And Ryan, you were afraid of this guy. This guy's like, he's me. I don't know. He looks really good. Well, he did that front shot too that Ryan, you do. And I still beat his ass too. It just, I kept all those receipts. I was only first call material, peanut butter this, 10 out of 10 that. And I was like, and again, we're all cordial now. So if they get upset about this,
that's good. I've never experienced the level of drama you have. You've seen the only drama I've experienced.
Man. So it's whatever. And if they get mad, that's ridiculous. We're all cool now. I just checked up on Sam for not too long ago, so we're really cool now. I think we're gonna start training occasionally. Sam and I get the best workouts in, but my training partner now, for the most part, is Cam. Everybody Fitness, and then myself or CDO.
Are you taking you're coaching now? Are you coaching just regular lifestyle people, or are you coaching clients?
Yeah, lifestyle people, and I have 2 debatable men's physique guys right now.
Okay.
But
what's your Instagram? I'll probably have posted it long before this, but your Instagram is
it's just at my last name 83, so it's at Belcher. It's like B as in boy, ELCHER. It's like Belcher.
I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah, that's fine. And then and that has skyrocketed tenfold when I turned pro.
I bet.
It was amazing. So it's like people wouldn't give me a chance to come for my help, and I went from like a few people to like, oh my gosh, I quadrupled that, no problem. And it's like, man, now it's great. Now I actually have it's amazing, and I'm not doing it for just money purposes, right? You got to charge for what you do provide to people. And I've learned a lot. I've learned 5 years from Sam, and I've also learned from Neil Cash now. And I have 2 different approaches, or somewhat, they're not exactly identical.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of what you're gonna teach others is what you've learned from
100%. And I can take both backgrounds and apply it, and but yeah, the rest is history. I went and won my pro card first try, one and done. That's the little motto. And that's not being arrogant. It's just truly a blessing. And I have no one to thank but this man right here, Neil, and myself for not giving up. And I think that's why the pro card meant so much for me. And
I bet I'm trying to get ready to do my own right now.
It's amazing feeling, man. I'm telling you, all that hard work is worth it. It's like having people that are like high up in IFBB come up to you and shake my hand, or like, what you did is not everyone can do that every now and again. And it's not a flex or whatever. So people watching, don't get it twisted. I'm just telling you the feeling. It kind of feels good. important people in IFBB say, hey, you did it your first try. Not many people can say they've done that.
That too, that too. Or I mean, I see people shooting their shot 4 times a year when they shouldn't be.
The guy who got third that I beat in my class, he was 0-6 in attempts, and now he's 0-7.
Let me say this:
hard.
You got second in the overall in Julie Palmer, but it was on like conditioning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just something you can fix in a short time. So like if somebody's losing on something like that, because I've seen guys do big
different variables that are fixable really quick, right? And I was on, man. I was the best I ever looked. I was on, at least my personal opinion. Neil thinks I was on too. Like, it was the best I ever looked. Full packs. It was just great, man. It's really a blessing.
Like myself, I could have done nationals last year, but it wasn't conditioning. It was size I needed, and that's why it took a whole year off. And now
I have a lot of respect for athletes when they don't. They're like, oh my god, I get first or second in a regional show. I'm just going straight to nationals. Like, no, people, there is levels to this sport, and I have learned that firsthand. So I think if you're a mature enough athlete, like, you know what, I'm not ready. I know what I need to work on to be, to be able to compete or compare at that level. Says a lot.
I don't mean to brag, but I've gotten a lot of class wins. But I'm like, none of these are not even close. And
they're just levels, right? You know that.
Yeah.
And it's so I think anyone that can be self-accountable like that and realize that, I'm like, man, I give you a lot of respect for that. So, but yeah, after I went pro car, I'm like, kept those receipts now. Who's a peanut butter now, dog? Like, so I'm all cool with them now.
I would have opened up a jar. I would have opened up a jar of peanut butter and ate the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, after I hugged Sam, I actually FaceTimed Sam, believe it or not, Spencer. We FaceTimed after I, was hugging Neil and we did all our stuff. Like, I had to FaceTime, and I was talking to Sam about it. And Sam was, I can say, Sam, you've been nothing but when we worked things out. He actually has my iconic, I guess, the picture worth 1,000 words of me with the medal and my pro card and me screaming and everything. He actually gave me a huge frame for that. So for him and his girlfriend, thank you so much. They made brownies and it's been great.
All right, you can keep going. I had another question for you.
No, yeah, go ahead. So just basically finish up. Everything's good with people now. We're all good now. But
what would you say? What your favorite thing about bodybuilding? If you could pick one thing.
It says a lot about the individual. My favorite thing. This isn't for everybody. You can compete, sure. You can be good, sure, but can you be great? And I think if you don't have the genetics, it says a lot about you here and here. In being able to challenge yourself and grow, I can say I did through this whole last year. And my year's still going. It's not over with. My story's still not going, right? My year's not over. It's just amazing, man. And I think you can grow and develop as a person, truly, not physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. If you are, I mean, I grew so much. Not only as an athlete, I learned so much about myself. I got to sit back from my situation and evaluate myself in life.
You can realize
so much. Yeah, for sure. And just dealing with all the pain and crying myself to sleep for 3 months to like, I just made the biggest comeback of my life. I just turned pro my first shot. For people who are watching, I got my own apartment in Centerville, which I'm so happy about.
You got a new ride?
New ride. Yeah, I just got a new car. I was like, you know what? Like, I had a rough year. I'm going to reward myself. I didn't need to. And it just happened to fit out to where it's like, I went looking for cars to get mine fixed. I had problems at the time. Overheating problems. I'm not going to go into the car spiel for people that know their parts, but I knew the parts. But was overheating, and I said I'm not going to get a new car unless it's the exact same car, exact same package, and the numbers had fit. And Walker Toyota down the street had it, and numbers matched up. And I got it. So I was like, I'm going to roll myself for the pro car in a little about year. So I went from going like this, and now I'm just up on uprise, and I got sponsored by Rule One. For those of you guys don't know, some of their stuff right here. Use code Belcher, save 10% off. By the way, I had to plug that in. But it's like, I mean, new place, new car, new me as a person. I'm more spiritually ever than my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. For those who are religious, wouldn't be where I am without him. Changed my ways, and I can look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, and I'm happy to say who I am. And I think for people that are going through things in life, it's hard to do that. And I'm like now at the point in my life where it's like I can look myself in the mirror, be honestly, truthfully happy who I am, and be able to, I don't know. I'm totally different. The way I used to be, I wouldn't be. I don't give any people the time of day. I used to be really confrontational, like that Mr. Jersey Shore guy. If you want to be funny about it, I'm not even like that. Like, I'm at the point now to where if I see people disrespect me, and whether they acknowledge me or not, or I have in contact with them, but if I see it, you're cut off. I see you disrespecting me or like doing things that someone rude to me, you're cut off. If I feel like you're negative energy, you're cut off. If I feel like you're not going to benefit me in any way, that's not arrogant. I'm just saying, like, it can be positive energy, not that I mean benefit.
Yeah.
Like, we're both very positive. I'm cutting you off. I've cut off so many people. There's a few people I can list right now. I'm like, see ya. And they used to be, cordial. The people I talk to the most is Neil, my coach, probably on a daily basis. I talked to Camden. Yeah, Cam and I had become so close. Congratulations, Cam. Sam and I know you on your recently engaged. So happy for you guys.
I don't know if I knew he was engaged. I may have missed it.
Yeah,
congrats,
if
I missed it, congrats.
Engaged, fiance, yeah. Really, really happy for him. I can say one of my best friends now. We've gotten so close, and it all started with the Lord.
I've got brain fog, so if he told me, I may have forgotten.
Oh no, you're fine. No, you're totally fine. And like, that's basically it. Like, I don't really talk to anybody much anymore. And I'll talk to Sam and occasionally when we can, but that's basically it. So it's kind of crazy how it ended. Got my pro card, new beginning, new me, right?
At the end of the day, all you have is yourself. So I mean, you got to focus on yourself.
I mean, it's true, and that's not guard against anybody else, but I think anyone can say that, and
I'm the same way.
It's just crazy, Sam. I just can't explain it like really quick, and I'll stop telling my story. It's just like going from the all-time of your low, and literally within 3.5 months winning your pro card, getting sponsored again, getting a new place, new car. It's like, man, this is great. And I'm just
a minute before that, it was like you're getting punched by Mike Tyson in life.
That's exactly right, man. I have no problem telling people 28 years old, legit bawling myself to sleep like for months, right? For 3 months. So if you are struggling in life, it is not over, and keep going. Things are tough, but
I describe it as like sometimes, like even for myself, sometimes in life, it's just about surviving day to day. But one day there will be
surviving turns of thriving, man. It really does. And it's just been truly a blessing. And I wouldn't be where I'm at without my Lord and Savior. I wouldn't be where I'm at without for this year. Neil Cash has done so much for me. It's just the beginning. And it just my team's a blessing. Love the girls to death. I feel like I'm the only men's physique guy right now, and all of my teammates are, wellness, bikini, figure, et cetera, right? So
right now you're taking clients, and people can message you on Instagram, Belcher.
Yeah, so again at Belcher 83. I am taking clients, lifestyle clients. I can do competition if you want to. Posing, lifestyle, the full nine. So whether it's, I've had moms post-pregnancy, moms want to lose weight, competitors, male and female, lifestyle, hey, I want to gain, I mean, the whole nine, you get it. So I do it all. But yeah, it's been truly a blessing. So right now, if it's off season, got my feedback. My feedback from junior nationals was shape is great. Everything we like is great, but you just need more size and pop. Pop comes from detail, maturity.
The next level.
From time. The next level. So Neil and I are looking to at least put on 10 pounds of tissue.
Isn't easy. I mean, a lot of people say like, hey, I'm going to put 10 pounds in 6 months or
that is not easy, my friend. I haven't had a full off season probably 3 years. So 2017, 18, and I try to explore different routes and probably like 6 months of an off season, but I still end up managing.
I've heard of crazy people talking about putting on 20 pounds within 6 months. I'm like,
oh yeah.
You've
ludicrous.
Seen I literally put on 50, 60 pounds, and I'm only putting on 5 pounds of muscle.
What it takes, man. Yeah, the elite priest route. So it's hard, man. And I don't think people realize how difficult it is, and once I feel like people thought they can, I think a lot of people, I could be wrong. I'm not putting words in people's mouth, but I feel like people are like, hey, well, if Ryan can do it, I can do it. It's not that easy. I think if you're good for it,
I mean, I saw you do it, and I know a lot of competitors, and I'm 9 out of 10. I'm like, they can't do it.
No, it's not that easy, man. And
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people do it. And I just feel like if you're getting like first, second call outs, even in a caliber national show, I think you're really respectable. Like, and that's my personal opinion, like if you were getting first and second call outs at a top tier show like that, and there's a lot of bodies there. There's like 30 people in a class. So if
and there's different reasons, like, if it's because of just conditioning or peak messed up, then that means you can easily jump up.
Correct. And redo another show, 100%, and so if you're getting first call outs, and even I'd say some second call outs, very, very respectable.
A friend of mine, Jeff Hollenbach, I hope I got his name right. First time he did a national level show, he got last place. He got 16th, where they stopped placing. His next show, he got it may have been a year later, I don't remember. He got first. He got his pro card.
Yeah, I mean, see, like, don't give up. It's doable, but is it that easily achievable? Absolutely not.
Sometimes you don't know where you're at. And, doing it the first factors,
time. Everything goes into it.
Like this year, I think this year you only have to make fifth in your class to qualify for a national show. So like somebody who got fifth place is now doing nationals. You're competing against people who won overalls. People get first in their class.
100%. And it's just crazy how things happen this whole year, how things turned out. And
do you got any advice for new competitors?
Absolutely. You can self-coach yourself if you would like to, but it does you wonders. And I highly suggest you to get a coach. 100%. It's so hard to be so analytical with yourself.
And I just had somebody on Corbin on a previous episode who coaches himself, and
which he did very well. And he just messaged me actually last on Instagram. Did he? So
I told him I told him you'd be the next on because I wanted to get the perspective of somebody new in physique and somebody who's more experienced. Yeah,
and shout out to you, man. You looked great for your first show. Only up from here, man. Keep going. I highly suggest it. If he doesn't hire you as a coach next, I would love to take over your men's physique stuff and let's get you going, man. A lot of potential there. All jokes aside, a lot of potential there. But it's just crazy how things happen, man. Unfolded. It's like
I was gonna say, like, how we talked about 9 out of 10, or I said 9 out of 10 people probably can't become a pro. I do think he has that potential.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that statement. Just being completely blunt, being African American has great muscle bellies. I was looking at them, and the shape is there. We just need size and detail. That's all he needs. And it's the first year competing, sky's the limit, man. And I don't say that. I'm 100% honest. I'll look at somebody.
I'm the same way. I'm
usually luck, or I won't say anything at all. I'll just keep it in my head.
But I usually I'm either cheering you on because I think you're gonna win, or I'm just not saying anything.
That's pretty much it, man. So I if I'm being honest, I wish the whole Dayton community could go up in all pros, but it's I don't want to put us on always put us each other on the map. I would love to see it, but not everyone can go pro, man. It's just really difficult, and not to shoot shots at people. It's just facts. There is levels.
Right now, I'm not for myself. I'm not even saying road to pro. I'm saying road to Disney because it's in Orlando, and I know for sure I will be going to Disney. I don't know for sure the other one.
Jealous. Make sure you take pictures and send it to me.
I won't use the term road to pro, but I'll use like road to Disney because one isn't. It's not for sure. You could come in your best.
It's never, man. Like you said, you get whooped one time and come back and fix some things and do phenomenal the next. It just depends. But
do you got any advice for somebody doing a national show, myself or?
Yeah, absolutely. Dig until the last day. And I know people say, "Oh, I do work hard. I do." No, like push. If anyone is watching this and is in show, if you are not suffering, and be like, "Oh, you're not suffering. You're just dieting," and that's true, right? You're just hungry. But you need to feel like shit, in my personal opinion. I don't care if you want to disagree with me or not. I walked around thinking I was having fever, low blood pressure.
I'm wearing thermals. I'm wearing thermal
socks. I work for the banks. You know how hard it was to count 20s? It was like 20, 40, 90.
Oh, I bet.
It was awful.
I bet. I'm lucky I work from home. I control the thermostat.
That's awesome. But yeah, man, it's really hard. And not everyone can do it, unfortunately. But I would love to see everybody can do it, and I would love to see Dayton be on the map. I really, really would. And that's no flex on me or anything else. I'm just saying in general, speaking hypothetically. But yeah, the sky's the limit from now. I'm really excited for the future. Also shout out Tim Robertson. Tim, you also got pro card with
He's
me.
from Cincinnati or from Dayton?
Dayton, Cincinnati.
Okay.
Tim, correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know him that well, but I mean, I know of him.
One of my good friends, nicest guy I ever met, who's got engaged as well. Congratulations. It was so awesome to have two good people
Yeah.
just go pro with each other. We celebrated the whole weekend. So.
I'm about to compete with a bunch of people I know. So
it's awesome, man. It's really cool to do that.
Anybody you kind of looked up to? Your coach or even like a pro, well, you know, Olympia level?
I'll kind of give you different categories. I will say someone who molded me to this degree and grew me the foundation. Shout out Sam Spencer, foot coach, friend for 5 years. I would not be where I'm at, developing me and teaching me everything without him. So, and then obviously Neil, love him to death. I call him my older brother, calls me little brother. I'll be with him till I die. So, but it's people I was one of those guys. I was a huge Jeremy Buendia groupie. Heard some things under the bus.
I could see that.
Not really fond of who he was as a person, but just love the swagger, his built, the huge arms, chest combination when he does his front double. Love that.
Did he switch to classic?
No,
he was trying it
Jeremy
out.
fell off the wagon. Man, went through a lot of stuff.
I thought I heard
trying to make a comeback, but I don't see it.
I thought I heard something about. I could be confusing that he was going to give classic a try.
Who knows? Jeremy Pofton did that.
Mate, that's who I'm thinking. Sorry, I got the names.
No, you're fine. And then I'm a huge Ryan Terry fan. I don't know. I was talking with Neil about that tonight, like who the top 5 are going to be this year at the Olympia. Jeremy motivated me at first, but if someone asked me, would love to train with a men's physique guy? I would say no. I think I respect one of my favorite bodybuilders and who I actually looked up to the most was Kevin Levrone. Huge Kevin Levrone fan, man of Christ. What he can do is just from taking off and going on like 6 months, it's like insane. And I just love his physique when he comes up to Creed and does all the whole thing. It's amazing. So it's maybe someone I look up to would be him. And I would rather train with a bodybuilder than I would a men's physique guy, believe it or not. Unless like Jeremy hit me up like, hey man, would you like train?
I get it. I mean, they take things to a more extreme level at the end of the day, you know.
I have the mentality of a bodybuilder, even though I'm a men's physique guy. That makes sense. Like I love training like crazy and stuff like that too. Excuse me, there's like a hair in my mouth or something. But yeah, I love the bodybuilding demeanor that I do there. But so another thing people are watching, like and I'm not, it's kind of weird as a bodybuilding podcast stuff, but I personally believe too as well. You have to take care of yourself first before competing as a person. I feel like there is more to life than bodybuilding as well. Even though I'm a bodybuilder, I'm doing this. I want to be at the Olympia one day. Like even that said, there is more to life. So do what makes you happy. I kind of do this because it makes me happy. It's just what I love to do. People ask like, why do you do this? Why do you watch all your food? Like, why do you see numbers when you see food? Like, why? All these questions, right? And I'm like, I just love it. I love it. It makes me happy. And you do only live in this life once. And if it makes you happy, then do it.
Do what you love.
There's other things. Yeah. If there's other things that make you happy, then do it.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
Same way.
But I know it's a hobby as well. I mean,
correct.
Maybe for you right now, it may become more of a career. Man. I don't know.
Well, Neil says it's a business, is what he says. Like once you're an IFBB, it's a business. You get fined, right? So but here's how I still see it though. Same, it's like you got to have your career and your income and your bills, right? That's door number one. I don't care if you're Mr. Olympia unless you're getting $250,000 contracts, whatever, like Jay Cutler and Ronnie Coleman did once, right? But like you got to make this the first priority. And me personally, speaking for myself, I don't know about you, but I love bodybuilding so much and I'm doing what I'm doing because I love it that much. So I choose to make it just as a priority as my first one, but this is always door number one. Always. This is door number two. I just do time management to make it about the same, if that makes sense, right? So, but you always got to go with door number one. You got to take care of yourself and be in the right, situation. And I remember telling Neil, like, dude, I can't afford another national show. That's $1,000, right? Like that's it, like one and done. We have no choice. And whatever, the rest is history has been a blessing, but take care of yourself first. And I think it's just great that people can grow.
I mean, just taking care of yourself first will make the bodybuilding easier.
100%, 100%. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of douchebags in our industry, and I can't stand them.
My own coach said something like that the other day about, like, secure your finances. If you're going to be in a relationship, be in a good.
You gotta love yourself, man, before you love anything else or invest anything else.
If you're in the middle of a divorce or breakup, or
not the time to
do it. That's going to make it harder to compete.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying. You got to take care of yourself. Love
a strong
yourself.
Foundation.
Take care of yourself. 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm finally at that point, man. Ready for the next chapter. I mean, obviously, bodybuilding is, always going to be a thing for me. I'm going to keep doing it until it says, "Hey, you can no longer do it anymore."
I'm not a big physique follower, but like, I'm a big fan of you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Likewise, obviously, huge, definitely likewise.
I can't wait to see when you do your first pro show, your debut.
Neil and I are like, hey, we're gonna try to pay. I mean, we're gonna pay our dues. Let's be real. We're gonna pay our dues the first year.
There's no rush.
Make some dents, but that second year, we're gonna try to get some points, man. So, that's the goal. But yeah, man, I'm ready for the next chapter. My story of this year hasn't ended yet. I'm really excited. We still have fall and winter, right? So I'm just kind of upgraded everything, hit the restart button, and look at myself, happy with myself in the mirror every day.
I'm glad to see it.
Yeah, for the first time, and it's awesome. It's like, now I'm just ready for whatever comes my way. I'm happy to see who I am, and I can, again, only put that positive energy and vibes in your life and cut people out if you need to. That's what I've been doing. So
I know for myself, like, I feel like I've become more of a fan, or like trying to give out positive vibes, but like there's something about, just the positivity, if you can.
100%. So it's been one heck of a ride, man, and I'm just excited for the next chapter. I'm sure you are too. I mean, it's been crazy, man. So it's just exciting to know that, the future and everything else, like, you take it day by day, but it's truly amazing. And I know I'm excited for you, for your show. If I off work, I'm going to be up there supporting you.
I appreciate it.
Of course, wouldn't miss it. I'm not sure if Neil will be there or not, but I'll be there for sure supporting you.
I'm going to bet he will be.
Always rooting for the good people to win, man. Always rooting for the good people to win.
I appreciate that.
100%. There's only a few of us out there left, good people, way society is today. But yeah, man, that's been my life and my story, and it just crazy. Everything happened. The joke is, I think what I got my pro card is I switched my board shorts color from baby blue to red and black.
Oh, okay.
I probably switched them.
That's funny.
But yeah, lastly, hopefully this motivates you guys.
Let's see.
So I will show you. Let's see if it'll flip here. It will flip. Yes, it will. So for those of you wondering, actually, Sam Spencer and his girlfriend got this for me right here. So that's the infamous picture that he was talking about. But for those of you, this is what it's all for right here. This piece of plastic right here.
It's a beautiful neon. It's my favorite color at the moment. Normally, my favorite color is red. It is currently my favorite color.
They used to make them blue.
Yeah. I've seen different colors. I have, yeah. And then they have different cards for judges as well.
No, 100%. So yeah, like, if it's all worth it. If people are asking me, like, is it worth it? It was worth every bit of it, and I would do it again. So
I appreciate you being on and sharing everything with us. And I don't know, we probably talked a good hour.
No, I know it was a long time, but I genuinely feel like
I knew this
whatever. I went through a lot, and I know that I'm not the only one going through a lot in life, and just want you to know that never give up. Yeah. Keep going, and the bad times don't always last, and everything happens for a reason. And pay attention to your environment, do what's best for you and only you, and do what makes you happy. All of that combined, and give it your all in bodybuilding, and never give up. I promise you will persevere 100%.
Everybody follow Ryan, Belcher _83.
Just Belcher 83. Yeah.
Sorry, 83. Thanks for being on. And I'll see everybody else on the next episode, and I'll probably add more of my prep in there.
Awesome. I appreciate you having me so much.
I've been excited for it.
I'm a huge friend, so I've been excited this, and I'm hopefully someone can take something away from what I had to share today. And then you're next, man. Ready to watch you. So
See you guys next time.